All right, well, no. One minute. Let's close it. All right, I've got 4:30. I'd like to call the Roswell General Service Committee meeting to order on Wednesday, 28th at 4:30. Could I get a roll call?
Councilor Foster,
Here.
Councilor Moore, Councilor Best,
Here.
Councilor Repesa is absent. Mr. Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, could I get a motion to approve agenda?
I'd like a motion to approve the agenda for April 28th, 2021 for the General Service Committee.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. It passes. All right, could I get a approval for the minutes? Four.
I'll second it.
All right, I have a motion to approve the minutes and a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing as none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. It passes. All right, first item and only action item, number 2, discuss and consider approving the use of $103,566.70 for the 2018 Library General Obligation Bond B Fund to create an interactive learning wall and a water-themed learning area. All right, Ms. Enid?
Counselors, thank you for a few minutes of your time. We know from research that children learn best when activities are fun, hands-on, repetitive, and shared with a trusted adult. According to a clinical report, The Power of Play, a pediatrics role in enhancing the development of young children, published by the American Academy for Pediatrics, play is a fundamentally important for learning 21st century skills, such as problem solving, collaboration, creativity, which require executive functioning skills that are critical for adult success. To help ensure that children in Roswell are ready to read and ready to learn when they start school, we are requesting the use of the Library 2018 General Obligation Bond B funds to create a fun learning area at the Roswell Public Library. These reimbursable funds are held by the Roswell Public Library by the New Mexico State Library, and they must be used by April 2021. You might notice that these slides are a little bit different than what you would typically see, and that is because what I'm sharing with you is copyrighted, but we have been given written permission to share it with you in this format on TV and also at City Council meetings. We are looking to develop 3 learning areas in the library. The first area is for young children, and it's located by the Children's Service Desk and by the koi pond that was painted on the floor where you see the word toy box. This area celebrates the unique wetlands found in Roswell, and what you see is not the final product. The orange structure is a boat. We like that its sides are open so a stroller can get in there, and we can also keep it a little bit cleaner. They have round interactive learning panels, and ours are going to be square like these here. I like the peekaboo ball that you see in there so children can look from one area to another. And I like that these interactive panels are interchangeable with things that we have already purchased using the Roswell Library Foundation funds. To highlight some of the animals that are found in the area, this includes the endangered Roswell spring snail. Those are also features that we can add to it. The second area we would like to focus on is the children's programming room or the Malone room, and these panels will fill the whole south wall. We are looking to celebrate Roswell, and we're going to be building on previous work done by the Bergen Group and modifying it a bit. The first wall panel is going from east to west, will be trees to celebrate the Roswell pecan growers. We will be celebrating agriculture and health by having the farmer's market truck. And to give you an idea of some of the details that are on here, I got to do a close-up. We can change and modify this so that it is more reflective of our culture, and that includes changing some of the bowls to the black-on-black pottery, famous by Maria Martez. And we can include English and Spanish to identify the different fruits and vegetables on the truck. And then remember the flags that you saw on the truck? Those are going to be changed to the Roswell streetlights. The next image is a magnetic board that we think children will enjoy changing into the Roswell, the Chaves County Courthouse or City Hall or maybe even the library. The church, an important part of our community, is the next image. And then the other two more buildings are next. The last part is a nod to Robert Goddard with a rocket. All of those things are being paid for with GO bond money, but we have also are going to be trying to do some fundraising to add in the area that is located on the northeast corner of the library, and this will be a nod to the oil and gas industry with the car. And you can see from the car that there are lots of interactive and promoting interactive activities that promote learning 21st century skills such as problem solving, collaboration, creativity, and they require the executive functioning skills that are critical for adult success. Have any questions?
I do. Okay. My question is, this was from 2018. Has it just been sitting there for that long, or we've had our flood and all of that, and we've had to let it sit? And did you contact them and tell them that since we had our flood and all of that, that we needed a little extra time?
The 2018 GO bond money is that's when it's voted on. We do not, from the state, does not have access to it until the bonds are sold. Then we have an agreement that we have, and that was signed in 2020. Okay? So this is very much of a use it or lose it.
Okay, and
Okay.
I understand that. I was just curious if since we had our flooding and had to redo all of that, if they were going to push it out any length of time.
No, and we can't use the GO bond money for construction. This
Understood.
is considered furniture
Okay.
and learning, so.
Thank you.
Okay,
Go ahead.
my only question, and all those things are ADA, the way they're looked are all ADA accessible and for children and so on and so forth?
Yes, especially the boat. One of the things that we liked about the boat was
Yeah,
that it was ADA compliant. What you might not know about me is I have a background in special education, so ADA is very important to me. All the edges are rounded so that they are safety. The car is handicapped accessible. So yes, they are.
The other question is, the autistic stuff that we're trying to work with the playground, is there any way to include some of those, something that may be for an autistic type in that situation, in some of those?
Let me talk to the Bergen Group.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I do, because that's it's sensory, so
Right.
everything is very touch. Children that are in the autistic spectrum, it tends to be lights that affect them a little bit more. They sometimes get fixated on something that is repetitive, and this would either
Fit in
help or
there.
hinder, I don't know which one. But I would like to talk to the Bergen Group and get a good answer.
So you're saying that the pictures that we're seeing are, you said, I know they're not final, but is you've already worked up and looked through that? That's why you already have these? You've already walked through the process?
We're starting to walk through the process. They will be very close to it. The colors, we can pick out colors, we can do some modification. They have given us a quote, and anything that we change, ching, 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 we have to take something out. So, so there is a lot of modification that we can still do, but this is what we're really looking at.
Okay. I do like the dual language concept, but would it be on just the fruit thing, the dual language, or would we try to work that into
No.
all three pieces or all those walls?
All three pieces can have it, and then we're also looking at signs for the American Library Association. There is a Sing, Talk, Read, Write, Play, which are the skills for early reading skills, and those are, they already have them in English and in Spanish. What we're looking for the Rocket is either the steam from the Rocket, either having the Sing, Talk, Read, Write, Play in it, or Clouds having the Sing, Talk, Read, Write, Play, both in English and in Spanish.
All right, thank you. That's all my questions for now.
All right. And with the autistic, I would think also the tactile, having some like grass and having, I guess we can't have water in the
No,
boat.
no.
But if there was areas where there was grass that they can have.
If you look at this one right here, the cauliflower, you might not be able to see it real close, but the cauliflower is tactile. Some of the other things are tactile, like they have corn that you would feel sort of like the corn cobs in
The
there.
silk.
So there is some tactile things in there. We have to also make sure that if kids are touching things, that
Can
we
be
can
cleaned.
clean it. And so that was one of the questions that I asked them is, how do we clean this? And they actually are in Arizona, and they were involved with creating some things for medical situations so they're very aware of COVID. And so
Yeah.
they answered that. I mean, it was within seconds. They said, this is the procedure to clean it.
They've probably put some of these in children's hospitals, and those definitely have to be cleaned very well, so.
Actually, this company works only with public libraries.
Oh, wow.
Okay? So they only work with public libraries. We would be the first public library in New Mexico that would have these items in it. So we would be one of they're called Bergen Library. If you have Bergen stuff in there, you come from Bergen Library. But we would be the first library in New Mexico that would have these.
Awesome.
And you corrected yourself, you said 21, but it was 22 that we have to spend the money by, right?
Yes, 22,
Okay, so,
not
The last
2
thing is,
days.
where you said water-themed area, did we discuss where that, because you just mentioned water, and on our thing it says water-themed learning area. Which part was that?
So this is right behind the children, this is as you go into the children's
The 114?
work area, and the stone wall, it's coming from the stone wall, and right next to the toy box, that's our koi pond. It's not a real koi pond, it's painted on the floor.
So that's where, it looked good, but so that's where we get the water-themed area?
Yeah.
It's just a little
Yeah.
fake koi pond?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right,
all right.
I'm good.
Any more
good.
questions? We're good?
I'm good.
All right. I'll accept a motion.
Okay. The motion?
I'd like to make a motion to consider approving the use of $103,566.70 for the 2018 Library General Obligation Bond B Fund to create an interactive learning wall and a water-themed learning area to send to full council.
I will
on-
second that. I was 100% just to see it pulled, but okay, I'll go to full.
Well, it's actually 103,000 it probably needs to talk
Well, and I
about.
understand that, but we also did this back when in 18. We went
Yes.
through full council back in 18, so we're just recapping everything. I mean,
Yeah.
she's just done Discovery, but okay, I'll sit that extra hour. I'll sit that extra hour. That works.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. It passes. All right, on to full council.
Thank you.
Next item up, we have facility department project updates.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, good afternoon. I'd give you a brief update on the progress of the library, build back and roof from the water damage. This is where we were at last month. They've got the walls textured and painted. The unpainted section there is where we have tile. The floor tiles started this past Monday. Moving along, this is the adult women's restroom as the adult men's restroom. It's in about the same, at the same point. This is the new entrance to the restroom. So if you remember, the old entrance was in the lobby. Times we'd get traffic and things going in there. This will be the new entrance. And it'll be controlled from the information desk where they come. They can let people in and out. This is looking down that hallway, so this would, to your left, that wall was part of the open lobby. Down at the end, that's the men's restroom. To the right there is the restroom. Moving on to the roof, this is what the old roof was the old Spanish tile. The roof was completed last Friday. What it looks like now. Matches all the storefront stuff that we have there. That is the side. All I have. And for your question.
I have a question. How come we chose tile over cement? When I went to the Boys and Girls Club, that was really sweet, that polished cement. How come we didn't choose it for these bathrooms for longevity?
Just, we're trying to, I'm trying to think of the word. We're trying to make everything the same in all our restrooms, citywide. We've done that at the City Hall restroom. We've done it in other places, so we wanted to continue that theme. The floor in there was an addition, and it was very rough shape. It was not to a level that we could polish with the funding that we were looking at, so next best thing was to continue with the tile, standardized is what I was trying to say, with our standardized tile that we're trying to use.
Okay.
All the new restroom renovations.
I was just thinking it would wear better with just straight cement like the Boys and Girls Club were, because there's traffic. There's lots and lots of traffic in a library, so, okay.
It would have, and I'll go back to this picture and you can kind of see how rough that floor is. It could have been done, I don't want to say it couldn't have been. Cost would have.
The cost would have been higher. That was kind of where I was heading. Okay, thank you.
All right. Any questions, Councilor Moore?
So what happened to the entrance of the light? Okay, that little piece is all gone, you know, that little piece. I know where the bathrooms used, so did they just get rid of all that?
Yeah, so there was a rounded entrance there, and that, we just walled that off. So now you actually come into the library, come through the scanners, and go around,
Then go to
and
the-
that's the new access. And of course, it's all ADA compliant.
Orange, that's,
That was
Bulldog- is that
that was
bulldog
the
orange?
existing color.
That was the
so-
color it was.
to say, is that bulldog orange? No.
That's
Or red.
a wine.
Yeah, it's-
That's a burgundy. Brick color.
All right.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you. How much longer do you think on the bathroom, Mr. Trent? On those,
We're hoping to have it done by the fiscal year, this fiscal.
the
Or
fiscal
soon.
year, no, you mean next year, January? or you
No,
talking about
this
July?
fiscal, July 1. Or soon.
Thank you.
All right, and
Hello,
Right.
sorry.
no problem.
Good afternoon. I'll be really quick and brief. I'm on day 43 for the Spring River Zoo, and I have Andy here to help me answer any questions here. But I thought it was important to put together an annual plan and share that with you as we're looking towards the future. So we've developed a little bit of goals and metrics for this next year that you'll also see in fiscal year 22's budget. So we're looking, this was developed before some new directives for fiscal year 22's budget. So when you look at the objectives, those will change. But our focus really is ensuring that we're providing a safe environment for our staff, for our visitors, and for our animals, most importantly. We want to make sure that the vision of the zoo, previously it had been a rescue zoo, and while we will still be available for rescue animals, the vision of that is shifting and changing. And so we would like to become known as a world-class experience type of a zoo and a tourist attraction that's engaging and inviting to all. And the purpose, obviously, is we want it to be a destination for people that are visiting Roswell, New Mexico. We developed 5 goals. The first one is to develop a strategic business and operational plan. So again, utilizing our budget and developing how are we going to reach the goals within that over the next 5 years, not just fiscal year at a time. Goal number 2 is working that master plan that was developed in 2016, and so really dissecting it and making sure that we are working that plan every single year over the next 5 years. Number 3 is to ensure the highest quality of life for animals and increase the number of animal exhibits offered. So that means reviewing our current animal collection, looking at the age of our animals. I will inform you that unfortunately this afternoon our bobcat has passed away. 80% of our animal collection is over their life expectancy. And so one of our strategic goals in this is how do we reintroduce a new generation of animals to this zoo? For a long time, it just had been a rescue zoo. And so that will be one of our strategic tactics that we're looking at over the next 5 years. Goal number 4, again, delivering that world-class guest service experience by making sure it's engaging, having our zoo staff and guest services, the new division, out within the park, creating programs, having special events, generating new ideas to educate and to promote conservation of our zoo and the whole landscape, I would say. And then number 5 is building a reputation that attracts top talent and retaining top staff at that zoo. So we want people in the zoo world to want to come here and be part of an amazing property and an experience. So with that, I'll go through this really quickly. Those were our 5 goals, and these are our tactics on how we're going to get to those goals. So the first one, we have to generate additional revenue. We know that. And so we have to create different opportunities and think about it a little differently. And thank you for approving the admissions. In the back of your packet, our March report, I will say, is our first month of having admissions. We generated about $6,739.50 in admissions. Of that admissions, we had 1,600 guests. 1,000 of those were out-of-town visitors. So that's new money coming into the city of Roswell, not from our current residents. So I'm super excited. I'm very proud of that. I'm proud of our guest service staff, our zookeepers, and we hope to keep reporting positive numbers to you. Of course, March was a spring break month, so it'll be really interesting to see where we land in April, but so far, so good. With that, we want to also create an enrichment and education program. So you're also going to see that while we had some zoo camps in the past, we had only offered it to one specific age group. We want to be a destination for all ages, and so you're going to see a little bit different education programs, not just zoo camp, not just the pre-K program, but developing an engaging educational opportunity for our local residents. And then, of course, building out that membership program. We were very grateful and fortunate that our partnership with the Friends of the Zoo allowed us to take over the memberships in order to support our revenue goal. And so with that, we are developing a new membership program. We hope to launch it July 1st. We're building it out because we want to make sure that it's beneficial to the members that are giving their money and making sure that they have every opportunity to see this property. The second one was working the master plan. So while we have, I call it the Disneyland plan, and I think it's a great plan, but we have to look at it realistically. And so one of the things that I would like our new zoo director or the leader, this is kind of my vision for whoever is coming in to manage the zoo, is taking that master plan and really doing a site organization and a circulation of how does the guests drive into the zoo, what's the first thing they see, how are they walking, what does that look like? And so if you go to the zoo now, there's not this aha moment, I've arrived at Spring River Zoo. And so that will be very, very important and very beneficial, and we will be coming to you to ask for your support in whatever is developed to say you've arrived at Spring River Zoo. And of course, we will do our due diligence to help build relationships within the community to get sponsors to help pay for some of these things that you might see here. Alignment of the master plan with the strategic priorities and execution, that's the other thing with the quality care of animals, making sure that our collection also aligns with that master plan. So we have a variety of animals, and in our master plan, it's a Western theme, and making sure that we have animals that fit within that and go through our map of the Capitan Trail and river bottoms and things like that. The third tactic is developing those philanthropic partnerships. Yes, we have the Friends of Spring River Zoo, but we want more people to join that organization, and we want more partnerships throughout this community that want to support the zoo. And so we need to build those relationships and really show them what we're doing and where we're headed, and hopefully they will want to come along and join that journey. And then the last tactic is set goals for each area within the master plan with a deadline-driven metrics of success. So goal number 3 is ensuring the highest quality of life for our animals and increase the number of animal exhibits offered. So it kind of aligns with goal number 2, where we're looking at our animal collection and ensuring that we have good standard practices for health, making sure that our animals are getting their vet checks. I'm very, very proud of Andrea. The last couple of months, we've had numerous vet checks on all of our animals. We're revising our vet sheet for weight, blood work, all of those things, and putting them on a schedule quarterly. And then every single year, we know that we have to do these certain things in order to provide the highest quality of care for our animals. We also want to enhance the training for our staff and making sure that they are trained and they are getting certification to keep their knowledge up, any new animals that we acquire or the current animals that we have. And then, of course, we want to develop a process and a procedure to acquire and transfer of new animals, again, enhancing the collection and the offering. Goal number 4, which is to deliver that world-class experience. So you might think, what is world-class? That is everybody wanting to come to Spring River Zoo and having an amazing time and time again. If they've came one time, the next time they come, they're going to see something different. They're going to have a different guest experience. And so that involves our enrichment programs, our keeper talks, our birthday parties. We're adding a zoo safari night. We're going to add some music nights out there and hopefully offer some beverages, beer and wine events, and just again, having a diverse revenue opportunities to enhance that experience. Again, we want to develop out that guest service with attraction of an entrance and a retail store. So our retail store, again, if you look at the back of your packet, we did about $1,400 in sales the month of March. Our highest item was our campfire mug. Yesterday, we just launched our new kids line of shirts, and so we, on our first day of launching, within the first 5 minutes, we sold 6 shirts, so that's very, very exciting for us. The other tactic is we want to provide a better or a more enhanced experience behind the scenes and opportunities for different special events. So perhaps there's corporations or businesses here that want to rent out the zoo. We want to be that destination or that property where they can come and do a team building activity, or they can come and have their holiday event in the evening, or even a lunchtime business meeting. So the last one is creating an ambassador and volunteer program, of course, with keeping the keeper safety in mind. And number 5 is building that reputation to attract world-class, I would say, engaging and top staff from the zoo industry. So part of my 90-day plan that you're going to see in here, this one, obviously we need a zoo director because we need some help. I need some help. Andy needs some help. We want to provide training in safety. Safety is important. And then we want to build a culture of inspiration and mutual respect. Over the last 40-some days, I've met with the staff. I've had one-on-ones with each of them, and we have some work to do. And I'm super excited to be able to help with that. We've put together an annual plan of action of how are we going to get there. Here's just a very quick sample of just some new ideas. This year, the zoo will be participating in the UFO Festival. Just this past weekend, they had the Golf Gone Wild tournament, which was in partnership with Friends of Spring River Zoo. And then we are also going to be having in August a race for the zoo, which was part of our recreation division. They have gladly said we can have that back as the zoo, and all of the funds and proceeds will go back into the zoo with their help and support. So we're super excited about that. This here is our annual plan for capital improvement projects. I met with the staff. We had a training day, and I got their input on what were the most important things that they felt needed the most attention from a capital perspective. And so this is just an idea of the variety. We broke up into 3 groups. We asked for their top 5. We broke down the top 5. There was 15 items, and then we kind of broke it down, and then we reorganized them and ranked them. And so you'll see some of these here, and I think you will go through that capital project with Mr. Fuentes during the budget process. Our number 1 item is that elk exhibit fencing. Alexis is growing, and we need to make sure that she has a safe enclosure. The second one is a big one, which is our new entry complex. It's that aha moment. And then the third one, these are mostly aligned with some safety measurements. We want to make sure, again, one of our goals is the safety of our staff, the safety of our guests, and the safety of our animals. So it's the bison stem wall fencing, again, keeping the walkway from anybody falling. Number 4 is the bear exhibit. That's pretty high priority, big money. A front mower, that was from our grounds, and again, how we categorize this, you might think, well, a mower. We wanted to make sure that the zoo staff had their opportunity to share what their needs and wants were. Security cameras for certain areas that we don't currently have cameras for. Electrical power upgrades, so that'll be really important as we develop those annual programs, especially the evening events. We need some additional power throughout the zoo property. Lighting that walkway for nighttime events. A secondary containment for the mountain lions, and I won't go on, but you guys have the list there. And so with that, this was my 90-day plan of kind of having the zoo under the public affairs umbrella. And so the first one was I needed to onboard a zoo director, and we have started that process of interviews. We had some candidates out, and hopefully we'll be sending something out to the full council shortly. Provide safety training for staff. We've started some safety training. We've had a safety inspection. Creating the strategic plan to work towards the goals. This is kind of the preface for that strategic plan. This is not the strategic plan, but this is kind of sets us up for that. defining a project list and setting goals to accomplish based on our fiscal year '22 and our revenue resources. We're starting that. We haven't finished it yet, but we're working towards that. Update and revise contracts for all zoo operations. That's another thing that we are looking at, just to ensure that we're aligned, meeting the needs of the zoo property and making sure that we have all of our contracts up to date. And then develop and measure revenue streams for programming. So we're looking at what they had done in the past. Did it work? Did it not? Do we do it again, or do we try something new? I think that is my presentation. So I will stand for any questions. And I have Andy here to help as well.
Open up.
Okay, my question is, you have the working master plan developed in 2016. When I asked for one, I got one from 2017, and then the final one was 2018.
Correct.
So which one are we working on?
We're working off the final one from 2018.
Okay.
It was started in 2016, and it took about 2 years to get to the final one that was produced in 2018.
Okay. I think
That's the one that had $35 million worth of work, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And I don't know where that one is. I guess we're not using that one anymore.
It's on our website.
Okay,
I can send it to you.
okay. That was one that I was asking for the other day, and then I got the January one, but that's cool.
That is the correct one. That's the one that is the final one.
Okay. I don't remember it in that fashion, but I'm old. It's all good.
No worries. Any other questions we can answer for you?
Ms. Moore?
I kind of had a question about, since we're not, I know we don't want to be the rescue, I get that. But so how expensive is the cost of adding, you keep saying add new animals, just to make this an experience, and if we got the same 8 animals, how it's going to be a different experience? How are we going to go about funding or getting new animals? I didn't see any of that included in the cost, so to speak, so it was just a kind of question of how are you going to go about getting new animals?
That will be part of the business strategic plan. So for example, if we have an animal that costs a lot in food or keeper care, and that animal is aged out, do we transfer that animal to another zoo that can afford the maintenance and care of that animal, and in turn get something smaller, more, I guess, less maintenance? So that's something that we will have to look at and be able to justify it by the hours that the keeper put together. And I think I don't know, it didn't go through, I had a slide that had our keeper hours. So it was I put this together for the budget process specifically. I don't know, it wasn't clicking back, but that's okay. But that'll be part of that evaluation process of the collection of animals when we're looking at that in our strategic plan.
And you're saying this part will be for the next 5 years?
Correct.
Is where we're looking at to begin with? But
Correct.
the next 5 year doesn't include a lot from that, that paper, that,
The
Plan.
master plan.
the master plan, sorry, golly, my brain's on. So it doesn't include, watch out, Mr. Larry. That doesn't include a lot of that, and I understand, because in my head, all I see is, okay, how much money can we, how we gonna make this money, how does make this money, and not an experience. To me, I see more is how we gonna get money than your last, I'm glad you put that at the end, make it a world-class experience kind of thing. And the funniest thing is, when I saw this paper, I could see your hand in it, because we, whenever from the zoo, I don't mean anything against him over there, but we never did get pretty, nice laid out kind of, stuff. So I could tell when a media person came in and was added to the, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but you can really tell the difference than when we get, when we used to get our reports from him over there,
Him.
Sure.
I know who he is, I'm just.
Okay. We just want to call him out.
And you know what I mean? So I appreciate to see the difference in the quality of work. And at first I was like, man, this is going to be just too much on Miss Jenny. She has a lot. She's already doing media for the whole. And I began to think about it. I saw that. I was like, well, maybe that's why she want the guy that we talked about, because that'll make your job
Yes.
It's more of overlook instead of, you know, a look over instead of overlook, you know. And
Correct.
so I appreciate that, and I see that you're, you know, already starting and have a lot of work, because, you know, I don't go to the zoo a lot, but it's one of my pet peeves about having something quality to go, and somebody kept saying, well, you need to go to Alamogordo, you need to go. No, I don't want to go to Alamogordo, I want to go to my own zoo.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? You need to go to Alamogordo. So I just think, you know, I'm still having issues about the charging, but I saw the little money, but I'm still fighting about that, but.
I know, I hope to change your mind with the reports every month.
When we
and
start seeing, you
when
know.
when you start seeing it, but we have to start somewhere.
No,
And
that's
and
what I
that's
agree,
really
I
kind of
agree.
what this is. This is my vision in the first 40 days of me
Seeing what you saw.
seeing what I'm seeing and being engaged. And to say that when the new director comes, this may change.
Because he may have a different kind of
He may have a
vision.
different view, but this is what I saw when I met individually with each of the staff members and was able to look at some of the data and some that we didn't have. And
All I can
again,
say is, wow.
it may change.
If you
So,
saw that much in 43 days, all I can say is, wow.
Yeah.
And thank you, because you know, of all this fighting for something that I don't really see a vision on, that I've been doing since I've been on here. Now, you know, I see some, you know, it's not clear yet, but
Sure.
you can see, you're starting to see a path, and I love that. And so I just want to say thank you, Nola, you know, even though I was going to fuss about them about giving you so much to do, but
sure.
I really appreciate, and maybe that's what it needed, a different set of eyes. Maybe that's what, you know what I mean? Not that they weren't doing their job or any of that, but it's just sometimes a different set of eyes sometimes just adds, and maybe they weren't asked the right questions before, and that now, because of who you are, you're asking the, you know, right questions, and to get this kind of stuff, and I appreciate it. So I'm done talking. I just want to say thank you.
Welcome.
Well, and I love this report because I love the fact that, you know, we have 20 memberships this month, 11 new memberships, so that speaks straight to the fact that we're getting new money in and new blood into this. And I do want to question, we have 2020 numbers of attendance, but how did we come by those numbers?
So those are, I'm going to let Andy speak to that, but my understanding, those were guesstimations.
Okay, because that's one of those things that I was,
Yeah, what we would do is like every hour, drive around on a cart and count how many people were in the park and then write that number down for that day.
okay.
That's how we got those.
Because without an attendance, it's really kind of hard to be a gatekeeper and count, and so that's, but that, I mean, and it's, we got to start somewhere, so that's
Was-
good.
Was there ever a formal way of doing this back when you first started as council
Oh, from the zoo?
from the zoo? Was
Oh,
there
no.
ever, so this is the very first time that we've had a sheet that tells us everything about the zoo that we can understand and not guesstimating.
Exactly. And that's
That's
since
impressive.
2010, so that's 11 years that I've been doing this, so.
That's impressive.
So I love this. And then the $10,300 revenue, I mean, my math automatically goes times 10, that tells us, you know, or 12, you know, and automatically we know some of those months will be better, some will be slower, but this is just starting off, and so the ball's starting to roll. I just can't imagine, you know, my imagination can get really big there later on.
Yes, so let me just remind you of that when y'all see the budget. Don't freak out, but the goal is very high, and I get that, and we understand that, but we are going to do our very best to elevate the revenue by enhancing that experience, but we are going to need help. That is the reality.
We're at the beginning. I mean, this is the beginning of a whole new situation. We've never had this. Before, we've been scraping and taping stuff together and duct tape and bubble gum, and now we finally have decided, you know, we finally decided to make it a business. That's what it needs to be, a separate business. So, and it is a business. I mean, sorry. I like the organization of the animals, taking care of their vet needs, their yearly and annually checkups. I'm really impressed with that, lady.
So we started, last year, we started doing baselines, and so I'll use our Bobcat as an example. Last July, we took her in for baselines. We did blood work, x-rays, vaccinations, everything for her. She's 20 years old, which is really old for a bobcat. They usually live somewhere between 7 and 15 years, so she'd greatly exceeded that. Recently, she'd stopped eating and kind of stopped her activity. Today, we knew something was wrong when the keepers could walk in there, pick her up, and put her in a crate. Can't do that with a bobcat. So the vet got her in immediately. We did x-rays and blood work, and the x-ray showed that she had massive tumors, like hundreds of tumors, which we can compare from a year, not even a year ago, July of last year. You can see the difference in her x-rays and also between the blood work, so we can compare and see how fast she went down here. She was a fighter bobcat. She was still hanging in there regardless. And the keepers have also worked really hard with the animals to start getting them on scales. So they had trained her to get on a scale. So last month she was 26.5 pounds. When they weighed her today, she was 18 pounds. She'd lost 8 pounds. And so that's something we're trying to do with all the critters is now get a weight on them so we can see whenever they're losing weight, when they're gaining weight, so that we can monitor it and make adjustments to their diet, to their health. We need to give them something, like we have a fox. She's old. She's arthritic. She has to be on Dazaquin. We just did x-rays on her. She's got a bad knee, and so now we have to evaluate what do we do to help her because, her leg hurts her. So to make her life better.
That's impressive, because
Yeah.
I don't think they had that kind of care years ago.
Well, and that's, yeah. And that's what we want.
Yeah.
That's what the animals deserve. And-
I'll fight for the zoo now. Before, I was having problems, especially with the lion cage, but, okay.
I wouldn't say they didn't have that care, because they wouldn't be there 40, 30 years.
Yeah.
They had to have some, but they didn't keep records of it. I'm sure they had to have decent care, otherwise they wouldn't have lived to, an extra 20 years over here, kind of thing. So they had to be okay, but I like the idea that you can go in and see a report with
Yeah.
it now, as well as, you not just
Well,
guess that he was
Their odds
taking.
are better in a zoo.
Having metrics to look at and being able to
Data.
compare works.
Data.
And I will say, the care has always been there for the zoo. I think the difference, and again, some of this, I have to give credit to Mr. Burris, because he has been by my side the last 40 days, helping me adjust. I know he left, but it really, like, he set the foundation, and again, I think it's looking at it different eyes, but the care for the animals has always been there. I will tell you, this staff, that is their number one priority. They are very passionate about the quality of care, and I think the difference is we're just telling the story a little bit different.
Right, thank you.
Well, and having the metrics can prove it, and that's the other thing. When we would get attacked by somebody, we wouldn't have all the data to show them, yes, this is what's going on. And true, those, Councilor Moore is right. Our animals would not live as long as they have lived if they haven't always had the care. Now just having the data to back it up to show the work that y'all have always been doing.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to work. When we're trying to explain something, when you don't have blood or x-rays or proof of vaccination, it's a little hard to show that you're doing really good care.
Right.
Now with doing the baselines, we can show you how they've improved, how they're not improving, and then we're making decisions based on the data that we have, so it helps us out.
Are those going to be online? Once you get those settled and straight, are your examinations and stuff going to be online so the community can see how the animals are improving?
I don't think we do, but I know we've been working with our vet. So when we go to the vet, we take pictures and x-rays. I think we can definitely do what other zoos do at some point and be like, today we took this animal in for this baseline. This is what we, and in our reports, I did put it for our eagle. We recently took our eagle in. He's our oldest critter out there. He's 35. Wow. He's got arthritis in his feet. Unfortunately, there's not anti-inflammatories that we've found yet for his little feet, but we have x-rays, and we sent those off to a professional radiologist who said that he's just old. He's got bad bones because he's old. So we've been putting it in the report as of right now.
Okay.
But we're working to build that
I
stuff.
saw the x-rays and I thought, well, that'd be really cool online. That would draw people because you're showing them the x-rays. some
And
people
that's
are
what
more
other zoos have started doing, is being transparent. Like this animal went in for, like Alexis, we were very transparent with her as far as, like, she broke her leg. We have x-rays of her leg and all that stuff. So I think that's a good education piece as
Very
far
nice.
as
Very good
what we're doing with the animals. They're not just in a cage sitting there doing nothing. Now we can show we're giving them the best care possible.
Awesome.
Well, and I think eventually I could see us having, the zoo having web pages for each animal, and some of that stuff can go on there, and people, that would also attract them to getting to go to the zoo
Well,
after they see it.
They can donate to each animal.
Yeah,
that they
exactly.
Oh, so we started putting together, what I've put together is pictures of the animals, their story, and we're putting that together so people will be able to get that. If you want to walk around the zoo, you can look up the animal, look when we got them, how we got them, all the work we do. It'll be online, so people can look up online if they want to see the story of the animal. I know people pick an animal and that's their, they'll buy the stuffed animal, they'll buy anything that's related, and they want to know the story. A lot of people, I know with the tours, we found that people, the reason they enjoyed the tours is because they could ask those questions about those animals and learn more, and it's a better interactive experience. Some of those, if you like the lemurs, we have an interactive experience for that people didn't realize we could do that. But that's part of, like, the staff's training with those lemurs. Those lemurs before wouldn't come up to anybody. Now, they see you walk in the gate with a group of people, they know exactly where to go, and they're ready to be cute and for people's picture. That's what the training does, and it's part of the enrichment for them, but also the interactive for the public as well.
Well, and it gets kids excited too. I know my class is writing, Andrea knows that my kids are writing a story about the beavers and how timber escaped, and of course it's all fiction of how, but they're creating it and we're doing it, so. And they're excited to go to the zoo, so that's where.
Nice.
Yay.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Do
you.
we have any public comments or any other reports?
Everybody looked at that, all of us went.
Yeah. No comments, Larry?
All right. All right, well, then let's, I don't need a motion to adjourn, but let's go ahead and adjourn till May 25th at 4:30. All right, thank y'all.